to help explain the world to us. 1 week out, Alice Castellanos. What do you make of the last 72 hours, the synagogue shooting, the bombing? What does that do to the polls, and what does that do to the turnout?
Well, I think unfortunately in many ways we're seeing a chaotic environment grow worse. And at the end of the day, who does that aid? Well, you could cut it both ways, McGraw. Chaos usually helps strong leader, the guy in the White House. But usually that's a man with a steady hand at the tiller. Donald Trump is both the strong leader and the provocateur, the cause of that chaos. So right now we're still looking at Republicans winning the Senate, keeping the Senate, maybe adding seats, 54 maybe, but a close loss for Republicans in the House. You know, what's interesting is you bring up a great point. After 9/11, right after the Challenger with Ronald Reagan, after 9/11 with President Bush, right, there were these national tragedies where the presidents would get and command the cameras and help a sad nation. But Donald Trump isn't picking up any of that goodwill because he just doesn't want it. He never becomes the president. He always remains the candidate who is campaigning, who's polarizing, who's energizing his base. He never elevates himself to that leader of all Americans. I was talking to someone the other day who suggested, you know, it would be great if a president would resign from his political party when he was elected and say, look, I'm still a Republican or a Democrat, and that's what I believe, but I'm going to be president of all the people now. Boy, that when we think of things like that, it tells you how divided and polarized we really are at the moment. Well, whether you are a Democrat or a Republican president, I think the idea is that they are usually president of everybody. And even though they buck their own party once in a while, this president loves the fact, has championed the fact. Commentators like you have commented that he doesn't want to be a president for everybody. He plays to his base. That's all he cares about, and that's why he was elected. And there may be a larger reason for that, and that is he wants to really destroy the old Washington establishment of both parties. He is not a unifying force. He is the very opposite. That's why his voters sent him there, because his supporters see Washington as a threat to the country that can't be fixed unless it is torn down first. So Donald Trump is the wrecking ball that does the job before the builders come in. Alice Castellanos, if Democrats take control of the House, of course, they're going to do a lot of investigations and a lot of subpoenas and all that. But is there an upside to the Republican Party and to Trump if the Democrats do take over the House? Well, I think you could see two things happen. One is it would be good for Trump politically because he would campaign as the brake pedal against Washington Democrats who are going to the extreme. So, yes, I think that would help him. But also, remember, Trump is really not a Democrat or a Republican, but he does love to spend, especially if it's not his money. You get a Democratic House, Donald Trump in the White House, the Republican Senate would be the only thing standing between Donald Trump spending more to stimulate the economy when the Fed is trying to tighten up interest rates. So stay tuned. This is going to be a new political geometry in 2019. That's a great point. Can we talk about Paul Ryan for a second, Speaker of the House? He burst onto the scene talking about cutting entitlements and debt, and it's all being about the debt. He leaves as Speaker of the House with the national debt ballooning like never before. The man went the opposite way. What happened? Well, he rose in politics to become a potential vice president, leader of the Republican Party. He kind of skulks out of town as a failed accountant, as the man who was not able to balance the books or lead his party. So right now, if you're getting that tax cut through is his only accomplishment, and Republicans really credit that more to Trump than Ryan.
Yeah. So it's interesting how he leaves, and he was a deficit hawk, and he had a lever and never used it. So
McGraw, he was the leader of the party that Donald Trump crushed, and in crushing the Republican Party and taking it over, Donald Trump crushed Paul Ryan.
Alex Castellanos, ABC News political analyst. Alex, have a good week, and talk to you next Tuesday.
You too.
All right.